27th of November. I'm Regan Allen, Chairperson for the Standing Committee on Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport. Today we are dealing with the Western Cape Second Adjustment Appropriation in terms of cultural affairs. Allow me to welcome all the members together with the Minister, the HOD and any other officials. For the record, we have received an apology from Member Malikaya Keko as well as Member Makamba Boicha. To our procedural officer, thank you for also attending today. Members, just briefly for the record, if you are able to state your name.
Good morning, Chairperson. Killian Postman.
Thank you.
Chairperson, good morning. Wendy Philander, alternate.
Thank you, Member.
Good morning, Chair Lorraine Botha.
Good morning, Chair Ayanda Barnes, member of this committee.
Good morning, Chair and members and the HOD, Mesuli Kama, alternate member.
Thank you so much, members. Thank you for your attendance here today. In terms of our rules of engagement, seeing that we've been a number of years, a number of months in this manner already, I will trust that we're all on the same page and we understand the rules of engagement as per our ATC directives for the 17th of April. Members, I'm going to allow the Minister and the HOD for any opening remarks. But the purpose for today, as indicated previously, is to discuss vote number 13, Cultural Affairs and Sport, in the schedule of the Western Cape Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill. Thank you again to the Minister for your attendance. HOD, is there any opening remarks from the Minister or the HOD? As well as if there is question time later, we will afford officials to introduce themselves or to highlight their name later on. I am aware that we are here for 45 minutes and I wouldn't want to rush anything or to be as brief, but I want to be aware of the time. So, Minister, is there any opening remarks from you? HOD, it's good to see you, sir. Any opening remarks from you?
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And maybe just a few remarks from our side. So I think maybe, Chairperson, just from our side to indicate, I think the committee is aware that the COVID-19 response, the response to COVID-19 and the disease has had a significant impact on the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport. The reason being that a lot of our business was the last to actually return in the various levels. In fact, some of the business only came back in level 1. And there are some things that, for example, in the events area, that even under level 1, we're unable to actually execute. So I think it did have a marked effect on a lot of our business, and therefore we present today an adjustment, second adjustment, which essentially the net effect of this is to reduce our budget by an amount of 21.1 million. Just a little bit of highlights. I know you will go through the detail, but I thought it may be just instructive for me to just indicate what the highlights are. So, for example, just give you examples, and as we go through the pages, we can probably talk about it. But the reduction in the mass participation sport grant, about 453,000. We then also got given to us revenue retention of 5.5 million. We got 1 million from the National Heritage Council to establish the Liberation Heritage Route. There's a movement of 4.4 million of unspent funds from the City of Cape Town libraries to the Swellendam Library Infrastructure Project. There is the decreases in revenue from our vote in relation to lost library books. Obviously, libraries were closed for a long time. A gym just recently reopened, so there's gym membership fee reductions, and then museums were closed for a long time, so there's entrance fee reductions inside that area. In terms of the our recovery plans that we decided from our department together with the Premier, Cabinet and others. The areas that we are involved in that recovery plan is the public employment programs in the after school space and in the first work opportunities for youth. And in these two areas, we will receive provincial funding of 5.5 million to execute that between now and the end of the year. Then I think you'll also see from our vote that there's shifts of 4.75 million to vote 1 for enterprise content management for open text licenses. As you know, they are the holder in relation to the back end of enterprise content management. And then, Chair, obviously we could not full post inside this time, and you are aware, I'm sure the committee is aware, Chair, of the fiscal situation and the fact that there's a slowdown on many posts filling. So we have given up an amount of 19.9 million for COE. Then also, Chair, so that's just in a nutshell on the financial side. We also have tabled changes to our annual performance plan, which we did send to ASIM. And what it is, Chair, is basically a situation that in the first 2 quarters, much of our business could not be executed. And so therefore we are adjusting targets. It's the first time we've adjusted targets in the 12 years I've been here. I don't recall any other instance where we've adjusted targets, but obviously this year is very different. And there are 27 targets that we have adjusted over plus minus 100, and we've also tabled that. So, Chair, we present ourselves, and let me hand back to you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, HOD. HOD, seeing it's for 12 years, I believe this is also your last meeting with us, but we will discuss that later on. Minister, is there any opening remarks from your side? We've done introductions. We've heard introductory remarks from the HOD. Is there any remarks from you, Minister?
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, I've had some difficulties to log in. I just want to say good morning to everyone. And when you face difficult times, know that challenges are not sent to destroy you. They're sent to promote, increase, and strengthen you. And thank you to each and every one of the Standing Committee, our department, and all our stakeholders for stepping up to the challenge. With this second adjusted estimates, we must be innovative and creative to serve our communities. And I believe we do have the resilience and capacity to unite our diverse culture landscape and to instill dignity to all our communities and our clients. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Minister, for your opening remarks. Members, as I indicated earlier on, the purpose of the meeting is to discuss vote number 13. We've afforded the Minister and the HOD opening remarks. Our procedural officer will flight vote number 13 on our screens at this stage. I consider that vote number 13 has been read. It is from pages 355 to 366, and the annexures is from 367 to 371. Members, with your indulgence, we will dig straight into any questions or clarity points from your side, and then via the HOD, questions will be directed to the relevant official, or the HOD, or the Minister will then answer. Members, I will be on page 355 to page 360. Is there any questions?
Can they show us the page, perhaps?
Sorry,
Thank
Chair,
you so
I
much,
couldn't
Member
get that.
Marie.
3552
To 360. Members, this is the vote that was emailed yesterday as well. I've discussed with Wasim to flight it just to make it easier. But I will note in this order, Member Kama, Member Mare, Member Botha, and then Member Barnes. In that order, in terms of pages 355 to 360. Member Kama?
Sorry, Chair. I had muted my mic. Thank you very much, Chair. And let me welcome the remarks from the provincial minister and the HOD. Chair, my question is on page 360. 366. Sorry. The first one would be on program 2. I see there that the department has received 1 million from the National Heritage Council to establish the resistance and liberation heritage route in the Western Cape. Perhaps, Chair, what I want to understand is added to this. What projects is the provincial government going to run aimed at commemorating, celebrating, educating, promoting, preserving, and conserving South Africans' road to independence, and the projects that are there to praise or flight the contribution of our unsung heroes in our different communities in the province, and what perhaps is the financial what is the budget for that. The second question, Chair, that I have is on the very same page on program 3. I see an amount, and apologies if I did not get it from the remarks of the HOD, but I see an amount of 4.4 million that is unspent funds received from the city of Cape Town, which would be utilized towards the finalization of the new Solendam Library infrastructure project. So I want to understand as to why were the funds not spent, and what were they intended for. So those are the questions, Chair, and perhaps say that I'm one of the people who thinks that this department, judging from the amount of work that it has, it really saddens one. I understand the circumstances maybe, but it really saddens one that its budget gets to be decreased time and again when there are challenges. Thanks, Chair. Let me stop there to allow other members to ask questions.
Thank you so much, Member Kama. Member Mare.
My question is that I can just sympathize to the department because of the budget cuts, but I know their mission is, like they say there, to make Cape Town the cultural hub center on South Africa and mass participation, but that's exactly where they are, what they can't do because of budget cuts. So I just wanted to know from the department, how do they intend to do this, to carry out their objectives in terms of making Cape Town not only a cultural center, but they show its uniqueness. We are not Africa, we South Africa. We have a different culture, we have a different music, we have different type of music genre. Are you doing anything about it, or are we becoming part of the rest of Africa? I want to hear Cape Town music. I want to hear Cape Town culture being shown to the world. Are you doing anything about that, or are you going along with the stream, Minister?
Thank you so much, Member Mare. Member Botha.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'm referring to pages 357, 358, 359, and 360. if the department could speak to the provisions that were made for employer service benefit, what is those service benefits? And then I just want to know 360, the mass participation program. Going forward, what is the innovation for the mass program in the light of where we are with COVID, in the light of the new year that we are going to, and then, you know, in terms of the mass participation, can be seen as a crowd event. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Botha. Member Barnes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Allow me to take off where Member Marais started on the part of Cape Town. I'm at page 359, library services. Provision is made to increase conditional grants, transfer payment to the city of Cape Town. I just want to know why the focus is on the city of Cape Town. Have other areas been considered, or, yeah, I just need clarity on that. And then my second question then will be on page 360, sub-program on school and sport, 4.1, sub-program 4.1, management of goods and services, reprioritization of funds due to provision made for legal fees. I would just like to have more details on what are these fees for. My last question, Chair, will be on page 371, table 13.8.4, sports and recreations. I want to know the purpose of school sport was to create a pathway for young athletes of school-giving age to get more exposure in competitive games across the school and various federations. For this province relies on more program. I therefore want to know the following, Chair. What will be the impact of the decreased budget on the above programs? And why didn't the department apply for rollovers instead of shifting the funds? Yes, I understand we are always affected in this department of shifting and taking, but just the rollovers, I'm a bit concerned about that. Lastly, what are the plans to increase the budget for sport and school sport in the MOD program in the future, as recommended by the case of sport? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Member Barnes. HOD and Minister, we are now on 9:18. If I can give you between 7 and 10 minutes maximum for that round, please, in terms of questions and answers. Over to the HOD.
Thank you very much, Mr. Allen, and a question for the members. I'm going to ask my colleagues to just come in. If Guy and perhaps supported by my colleagues can just answer the question about the Liberation Heritage route. And then maybe just to deal, this is from Member Carmen, and just to maybe for me to just deal with the 4.4 million unspent funds from the City of Cape Town. That was unspent funds from CLE, and they had applied for a rollover, and the rollover was not granted. So then we then repurposed that money to the Swellendam Library Infrastructure Project. They will have developments there inside Swellendam. Then if I can ask Guy again, supported perhaps by Jane, to answer the question of Member Maria on the cultural hub. And if you're carrying out the objectives, I do know we do have Cape Town Museum, and we are a department that responds to the great mix that the Western Cape is. So there would obviously be many programs that relate to the question of Cape Town and pushing the people of Cape Town. And then if I can ask CFO to just respond to the question on employer service benefits by Member Botha. And then if Lyndon Bauer, if he could just respond to the question on innovation in terms of the mass participation programs. And then Member Barnes, just in terms of school sport, the question you asked on school sport, if that could please be responded to by Lyndon and Paul. And I think that basically covers all the questions. And if I left anything out, Chair, we can come back to them. But maybe we just start with Guy and then we work our way through, if that's okay, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, HOD.
Thank you very much, Chair. With the Resistance and Liberation Heritage Route, the Western Cape has got 3 sites on this road to freedom. It's Robben Island, and this site has already been formally protected in terms of the National Heritage legislation. It's also a World Heritage Site. So that site is pretty much taken care of. And then there are 2 extra sites. The first one is Roads to Freedom, and these are the sites related to Nelson Mandela's route to freedom on the 11th of February 1990. And these sites include Madiba House, Madiba Prison House at Drakenstein Correctional Facility, the City of Cape Town City Hall, as well as the Grand Parade. All of those make up one site. The second one is called Tussen de Riviere, commemorating the early legacies of resistance by the indigenous people in South Africa. And this is making reference to the 1st of March 1510 battle between the Khoi and the Portuguese. So we submitted these to National. They were approved as the 3 sites that will be part of the nodes of liberation heritage, resistance and liberation heritage route sites throughout the SADC region. And we then applied for funding. All the provinces applied for funding to the National Heritage Council to conduct feasibility studies for having memorialization on the sites as well as interpretation centers on the sites. And this is what this 1 million is for. 500,000 is for the Roads to Freedom sites related to Nelson Mandela, as well as the other 500,000 is towards Tussen de Riviere, commemorating the early legacies of resistance by the indigenous people in South Africa. Other activities that we're engaged in are being led under heritage resource management. You may know of the recent sites that have been declared as provincial heritage sites in the past few months by Heritage Western Cape. We have Freedom Square in Pontehevel. We have the Langa Post Office in Langa. We have the Gugulethu 7 Memorial. So those are some of the interventions we have made to transform the heritage landscape and also to elevate some of the sites of significance in the Western Cape, which were local sites, to have provincial status. And from there, they can easily then be motivated for national status. Thank you, Chair.
Thank
Okay,
you so much. Yeah. HOD, are you covered your side?
Yes, no, I've covered in terms of Guy, what Guy has answered, but essentially can I ask London if he can come in now, please, and then Cecilia will come in, and the CFO will also come in.
Thank you, HOD, and good morning, Chairperson and members. In terms of Member Boda's question about mass participation, it is a very difficult one at the moment because we're all monitoring the flare-ups relating to COVID and also the mass participation when you have a crowd of people. What has been happening, Chairperson, in terms of in the athletics world, we've had engagements with the Two Oceans Marathon and various other marathon organizers, and what is happening is that there is a hybrid event that will now be happening in most cases. So you'd have about 50 runners that would run on the street physically, mostly the elite athletes that would need to qualify for the comrades or other events, and then you'd have people that can participate in their own neighborhoods. In other words, you can be literally anywhere in South Africa or in the world, and as long as you have downloaded the app, you would then be able to participate and be part of some of these events. Now, it is, of course, not an ideal situation because even though we may have 20,000 people participating then in their different neighborhoods, we actually also use sport events for economic injection into particular areas. So if we don't have people coming to Cape Town or to the Knysna Oyster Festival or to the Oudtshoorn Marathon, then those guest houses, the restaurants, they will all be affected by it. So although the hybrid model is something that is being touted at the moment as something that we can use, very, very difficult to continue that indefinitely without it having an effect on the economic advantages of sport. We have started in terms of innovation also to have virtual training. So coaches are able to load videos onto YouTube and make it available to their athletes so that they are able to continue at their homes in terms of that particular training. So we have used the platforms given by Zoom, given by WhatsApp and other fora in order to innovate. But at the end, Chairperson and members, we still want to have people participate in sport, and people still want to have the cultural and social affinity of getting together. But at this stage, the department cannot just encourage that, but we have started transferring funds to federations in order for them to start their programs in the next quarter. Chairperson, that is in terms of our innovation, and then I'll just allow Paul Hendricks to speak about the mod centers. Over to Paul, HD.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, actually,
I'm
go
not
on to the
getting a
next question. I'll just call Paul.
Okay, Cecilia.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'm just responding to the question about the 3.3 million to City of Cape Town and why not to other municipalities. The conditional grant was not enough to fund 12-month expenditure to municipalities this year due to the severe cut. So what we did is we funded them from July to March, and then their last quarter will be funded by our new financial year funding. So what's happened is that during the course of this year, there has been savings on the conditional grant because our sector has basically been closed until September and only opened then. So those savings we are then paying over to the City of Cape Town, but that means the April allocation will then be reduced. So it's not that they're getting more funds, it's just that we are using the savings to cover some of the April funding that they would have gotten, and then in April they will get a reduced funding, just to make sure that we spend our conditional grant fully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paul, are you on?
Hi, Chair. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead, Paul.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everybody. With regards to school sport as well as mass participation, we've started going back to the activities that we've been doing. So the school sport leagues have restarted, as well as the mass participation activities in the mod program has restarted. While we were going through the various levels of restrictions, we were assisting the education department with the feeding of the youngsters, as well as with the social distancing and monitoring the mask wearing, etc. But now that we're at level 1 and we have the necessary permissions, we are back to activities after school hours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there are two outstanding things that we still need to cover. If I can just ask the CFO to speak to the employee service benefits, and if I can ask London to just speak to the legal fees issue. CFO, over to you.
Thank you, HOD, and good morning, Chair and members. So the question around the employee service benefits, there is one amount for 783,000, and that was with regards to early retirement penalty that the department was liable for. So that is a new rule in terms of early retirement. If we allow early retirement, the department has to take the liability of the cost. So that was for 783,000, and then there were 3 smaller amounts which are in respect of leave gratuity related to staff that resigned within the department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CFO. Can I go to Advocate Bauer, please, to talk about the legal fees?
Thank you, HOD. Yes, in the last year or two, we've had some cases relating to CCMA hearings that needed to take place relating to 1 or 2 of the mod center coaches that filed papers against the department. So we are currently dealing with that. Most legal matters take about 2 years to conclude. And then we also had one overtime matter that is currently also at the CCMA, in which we have employed counsel, and in all of these matters, we use the state attorney and counsel to assist us to defend the department in terms of the decisions that we have made. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Chair, I think we've covered now.
Thank you so much, HOD. Members, it is now 9:30. For the next 5 minutes, I'll take a round. I will afford each and every member 1 minute. As members, we have privileges in terms of parliamentary questions, member statements, writing to ministers, etc., and we are always at liberty of using those. If there is any question or point of clarity that you need in terms of the full vote for number 13, that is from pages 355 to 366. If there's any burning question that will influence how you vote today on this particular bill, I will encourage you to ask that particular question. Any other questions, I will encourage you to use your parliamentary privileges. We also have an opportunity to request if there's any member from the public that is wanting to give input or ask a question. And we now only have 14 minutes left. So members, I will go for each and every member and request if there's 1 minute for any input. And I trust that you will find that in order as we move forward. So I will note Member Marais, your minute, sir, for the entire vote, including the annexures.
Yes, sir. I just want to remind Minister Andrew Marais that when Mr. Mtetwa, the national minister, was here in Tetwa, he made certain remarks there about contending forces, and he says we must have anti-racism protests, and these matters, they must become dominant narratives because life has to be believed. Now, Minister Andrew Marais said we need a more representative heritage approach. We must collect oral history, etc. Now, in terms of culture and heritage, did the minister have a view, and did she tell national government about her party's view on the renaming of the Cape Town airport to Kretoa International? Did she do that? Do you support that, Minister, in terms of this heritage you speak of, which must be representative heritage? Those are the exact words you used. It must be a more representative heritage approach. In view of that statement which you made a few days ago, would your department support the call by the Khoi and Griqua communities for the renaming of the Cape Town Airport to Kretoa International Airport?
Thank you so much, Member Marais. That's within a minute. Member Kama, I note you. Member Botha, I note you.
Thank you, Chair. None from me.
Thank you, Member Botha. I see Member Ayanda Barnes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Apologies if I'm cutting. I'm struggling with network here. Chairperson, I'm not supporting the budget vote. And the reason for that is that we timelessly see this department being affected with budget cuts. And I feel it's very important that as this committee, we should start raising that it can't be always the one that is surrendered by demonstrating power of saying can't always just accept that budget cuts are normal and this department is the lesser department to make sacrifices on. So on that note, Chair, although I also know COVID had its own impact, being the first one to close and the last one to open, but it has been heavily affected. I really think that at least it should be one department that should be considered also as a very much priority amongst other departments. On that note, Chair, I won't be supporting. I think.
Thank you so much, Member.
Thank you, Chair.
Member Barnes. We are not yet at that stage where we are indicating our support or not supporting, but thank you for your comments. I now see Member Rachel Winvogel. Member Gillian Bosman, I note you, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you very much to the Minister and the HOD for making a very difficult fiscal situation work. We know that a large part of the mass participation grant was cut because that money has been given to another bailout for South African Airways. So many members of our community gets to suffer under really bad decisions that are made at national. So thank you to the Minister and the HOD and the entire team at Cultural Affairs and Sport for making things work under very, very difficult fiscal circumstances.
Thank you, Member Bosman. Member Wendy Philander, I note you.
Person, thank you. I am covered by Member Bosman, and at the point where I raised my hands, it was a point of relevance with regards to Member Mare, but I'm covered. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you so much. Members, allow me to again request for Member Rachel Winvogel.
Chairperson, Member Van Vogel is struggling with networks, having same problem I'm having here. Apologies to her.
Thank you so much, Member Barnes. I chatted to her earlier on and I indicated that I will be requesting her again for input, but I know that. Thank you so much, members. To the department, is there any remarks that you would want to make at this stage?
Jay, I think we're fine. Fine at this stage. I don't know if the Minister wants to say anything, but I think we're fine.
I can just say, Chair, in connection with Member Mare's comment, he needs to now I just want to remind him that the public participation being the most important part of the process, and it needs to follow due process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. Member Barnes, your hand is still raised. Is that for any further input? Thank you so much, Member Barnes. Members, thank you so much for your indulgence and in understanding that we have time constraints in this regard. I would want to thank you again for your input and for your questions based on budget vote number 13. If there is obviously in future, if you would want to use any of your parliamentary privileges to ask any additional questions directly to the Minister in a written question or oral question, or whatever privilege you want to use, that is always at your disposal. Members, I will now end off this vote and we will go into where we will go into our deliberations and our resolutions for today. But please allow me, we have 7 minutes remaining and I am aware of the time, but I believe this is the very last meeting where Dr. Dlamuka as well as the HOD will be with us. Minister, am I correct in saying that?
Yes, Chair, you're correct in its hard sore, but that's a fact.
We personally, and I hope that I can speak even for the committee, is that they will be missed, and we wish you well in your future endeavors. And we have seen over the year, it's almost 19 months building the relationship, fostering the relationship. So HOD, thank you so much. Actually, I see the HOD in Nando's from time to time, so I might see him in Nando's again. But HOD, thank you so much for always being yourself and for being real and for answering and engaging in this regard, as well as Dr. Dlamuka. We wish you all of the best. Is there any member for 30 seconds that would want to say anything to the two departing officials? I see Member Botha.
Thank you very much, Chair. I wish them well on their new journeys that they are going to embark upon. And I wish to say welcome to the DCAS losing the HOD, but welcoming him to education as the SG.
Thank you so much. Between Member Kama and Member Barnes, I will give one of you 30 seconds. Will it be you, Member Barnes?
I'll take it, Chair. Chair, I think partly, I must say that the two have been amazing, both of them. Promptly, whenever you write a message, I always have lots of questions and always wanting my answers now. Between Mr. Lamuka and Mr. Walters, both of them, they've been prompt, and I also wish them just the best. And really, for the past 19 months, any question, even on WhatsApp, they were available. I mean, normally we send emails, but they were even a WhatsApp away. All the best to them, and they really have strengthened us as even young legislators that came in. I salute them for what they've done, and into the future, all the best. Thank you, Chair.
HOD?
Thank you very much. Chair. I don't know if
I'm not going to say 30 seconds. I'm not going to say 30 seconds, but whatever you want to do, you can do now, sir.
Chairperson, just a small correction from our side. Remember, I still have to appear in front of you for the annual report, so I will still be there for the annual report.
Oh, okay.
But Dr. Lamuka is leaving. His last work day is 30th November, so the annual report hearing is on the 4th December. So he will not be with us. So I don't know if he wishes to say anything, but maybe just from my side. I will obviously have an opportunity again at the annual report, but just to thank the members for all their support over many years. And you know, we are being held accountable through the processes, and I think we always had a healthy professional relationship with the committees. And we respect the work that you are doing, and we value the probing questions that you ask, because I think it also helps us to smarten up our responses. So thank you very much for that. Let me hand straight over to Dr. Lamuka if he wishes to say anything. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, before we speak, can I also wish him well, if you will allow me?
You have 30 seconds, Member Marais.
I want to tell Mr. Brent Walters, yours is a massive promotion, and I want to congratulate you. The budget must be about 20 times bigger than the cultural budget. I know, because I've had that portfolio as MEC. And I wish you everything of the best. You've got a mammoth task, but you've got broad shoulders, and I wish you well. And as far as Dr. Matlota, I want to say to you, well done. I don't know where you will be going, but well done. And I'm sure you've been an asset to this department. Godspeed.
Thank you.
I'm glad I didn't inform that Member Marais that it is Dr. Lamuka's birthday today as well, because Member Marais may have broken out in song. But thank you so much, Member Marais, for your wishes as well. Dr. Lamuka, anything from your side, sir?
Sorry, Chair.
Guy, yes.
Yes.
I see Guy just want to come in. I believe Mokalis is having some issues.
Yes, Chair. Tolis has been he's been on and off connectivity issues. I think he's been messaging me on the side. But I will convey the messages from the members. I'm also aware that he and Member Barnes communicated quite frequently, so I shall convey all those messages from the members. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guy Redman. HOD, thank you so much to the Minister. We appreciate your attendance here today. You are now promptly excused as the committee will deliberate and conclude our business.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members. Enjoy your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Members, in terms of us moving forward, we've received no request for public input, but in terms of our request moving forward, do I get any views, any input from any member? I note Member Bosman.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I'd like to move that the committee supports the budget for the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sports. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Botha.
I want to support that proposal, Chair.
Thank you so much. I note Member Marais.
I wish to support the budget from the Freedom Front.
Thank you so much, Member Mare. Member Barnes, I note your hand.
Chair, I think I've already made mention that I'm not supporting the budget earlier, although it was out of time.
I hear you, member. Thank you so much. Members, in terms of any further resolutions or input or request for information between now and Monday, if there's any additional request that you would like from the department, if you can escalate that to our procedural officer, and we will ensure that those are then requested formally from the committee side. But in terms of the proposal from Member Bosman, which was supported, our Standing Committee on Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport, having deliberated on the subject of vote number 13, Cultural Affairs and Sport in the schedule of the Western Cape Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill, referred to the committee in terms of Standing Rule 118, reports that it will support the vote. Furthermore, in terms of registering a minority view in the report, which was requested by Member Ayanda Barnes, will be stated in our report as well. Members, procedural officer, I trust that that is all in order.
Yes, Chairperson.
Member Bosman, your hand is up.
Chairperson, sorry, it was up from previously. I'll lower my hand now.
Thank you so much. Members, again, we are 2 minutes over time, but thank you so much and for affording us to at least engage the HOD and Mr. Dlamuka and sending messages. But thank you so much. This meeting is now adjourned.